Yes, indeed. What's happening, world? B Marsh Boxing. What's goody with y'all, man? I'm back at it, man. Back at it once again. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I'm trying to tell y'all it's been a while, but I'm back at it, man. Never slipping, man. What we doing today? Back at it with another one. Not controversial decisions, not DuckTales, not fights we didn't get to see. No, this is right here. Top five dead or alive. Back at it once again. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but never fear. B Marsh is here. You heard. What we doing? We doing a top five dead or alive for the Super Bantamweight division. 122 pounds. All right. And the previous division I did, featherweight, was by far the hardest division I've done since I've gone all the way down from heavyweight all the way down to featherweight. Now we're at super bantamweight. Super bantamweight wasn't that hard. So let's get into it, man. Let's dive into who are the top five, dead or alive, greatest fighters ever at 122 pounds. Well, number five, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man, was the toughest one for me because this one right here, I had to decide whether to leave out, whether who's gonna make number five. Is it Israel Vasquez or Rafael Marquez? Really and truly, it'd be a disservice and be dishonorable if I put one without putting the other. You know what I mean? So for the first time on B Marsh Boxing, um, top five dead or alive, what we doing today? We doing a top five dead or alive. Number five, there will be a 5A and a 5B. Okay? And there's no way around it. You know what I mean? Let's go with 5A. Israel Vasquez from Mexico. Great fighter, super bantamweight, and he also campaigned at featherweight. Record is 49 wins and I believe, or 44 wins and 5 losses, okay? That's indeed. 32 wins by KO. Now, Rafael Marquez was a good fighter at 122 pounds, you know what I mean? He had that classic rivalry with the guy they called Oscar Larios from Mexico as well. And boy, I think it was, I think they fought about 3 times. And the final knockout, man, the way he laid him out, how he laid out Oscar Larios on the canvas was a thing of beauty, you know what I mean? You check it, Oscar, I'm sorry, and that's how he became, no, he had an IBF strap when he beat Jose Valabuena for the IBF 122 pound strap. So one, two, three, four, five. He had about 4 defenses before he met Rafael Marquez. You know what I mean? He knocked out or stopped Johnny Gonzalez in the 10th round. He laid out Oscar Larios, knocked him out cold. But then Rafael Marquez, who is my 5B, he moved up in weight from bantamweight, where he had beat Hall of Famer like Mark Too Sharp Johnson, beat another very good long-time reigning bantamweight champion from Cincinnati, Tim Austin. You know what I mean? So Rafael Marquez moves up in weight, and he stops the man Israel Vasquez in 7 rounds. You know what I mean? You check it. But then they fought again in the rematch, and Rafael Marquez got stopped by Israel Vasquez in 7 rounds. You know what I mean? So they were going back and forth, you know? Yes, indeed. This is a classic rivalry right here, to be honest, you know? One that'll never be forgotten. It's not a rivalry. They don't talk about this rivalry like they do Eric Morales and, what's his name? Uh, um, Eric Morales and what's the guy's name? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. Marco Antonio Barrera, you know what I mean? But this rivalry was a classic rivalry, you know what I mean? 4 fights. And in the second fight, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Rafael Marquez stops Israel Vasquez. Then they had the third classic fight, which was also for the WBC and the Ring and the Lineal Super Bantamweight titles. And that fight was a split decision draw. I'm sorry, split decision victory for Israel Vasquez. The fourth fight was at featherweight, so I'm not really gonna consider that fight because we're doing super bantamweight. We had 122 pounds. You know what I mean? So I gotta give it up to the man, Rafael Mark. I mean, I'm sorry, Israel Vasquez. You know what I mean? Beat, knocked out Johnny Gonzalez, Oscar Larios, stopped Rafael Marquez, and beat him also on points. You know what I mean? Okay, and Rafael Marquez, like I said, 5B, great fighter, the younger brother of what's his name, Juan Manuel Marquez, a harder hitter than Juan Manuel Marquez, but he don't got a chin like Juan Manuel Marquez. I'll tell you that. You know, he got a split decision victory over Mark Two Sharp Johnson. Controversial fight. I thought Mark Two Sharp Johnson won that fight, but it doesn't matter because they did an immediate rematch, and Mark Two Sharp Johnson got stopped in the eighth round. You know what I mean? Like I said, Rafael Marquez stopped Tim Austin also in the eighth round. You know, to win the IBF strap and that was at bantamweight. So let's get into super bantamweight when he moved up in weight and he beat Israel Vasquez. You know what I'm saying? You know, so those fights with Israel Vasquez, I gotta put him up there. You know what I mean? Those are classic fights. Those guys defined that 122-pound division in their era. So 5A and 5B, I gotta give it up to none other than Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez. Who do we have at number four? Mexico's own. Mexico's own Daniel Zaragoza. What was his nickname? The Little Mouse or something? You know what I'm saying? He had a crazy nickname. You check it, the Little Mouse or something. El Raton. You know what I mean? From Mexico City. I gotta give it up to this guy, Rafael Marquez. I'm sorry, Daniel Zaragoza, because you know his first attempt at super bantamweight came when he moved up and he fought what's his name, Jeff Fennick, and he took a loss to Jeff Fennick. No shame in his game. And that was at about in 1986. You know what I'm saying? He campaigned, kept fighting, and he beat Daniel Zaragoza in 1988 for the vacant. I said Daniel Zaragoza, sorry, Carlos Zarate for a vacant WBC title. Stopped him in 10 rounds. And sure enough, Carlos Zarate was past his prime, but he's a Hall of Fame and arguably the greatest bantamweight of all time in Carlos Zarate. You know what I'm saying? You know, he had those trilogy fights with the guy by the name of Paul Bank. You know what I'm saying? He had fights with some guys from Korea like Sung Hoon Lee. You know what I'm saying? And Chang Yang Park. You know what I mean? So he had a lot of fights, a lot of title defenses, wins and losses at 122 pounds. You know what I mean? Had those two fights with Tracy Harris Patterson, who went up to 130 pounds on those to become a champion. You know what I'm saying? So no shame in his game, you know. Beat guys like Jose Sanabria, who was a good fighter in the 90s. He beat Wayne McCullough. To me, that was his best victory. Wayne McCullough moved up from being a WBC 118-pound champion, bantamweight, and he moved up as an undefeated fighter to fight Daniel Zaragoza, who was about 38, 39 years old, as a champion. Three-time champion at 122 pounds, and that's why I have him. But anyways, Wayne McCullough lost a split decision. It was a close fight to Daniel Zaragoza, you know. But I gotta put the man Daniel Zaragoza in the list because, like I said, the guy is a three-time champion at 122 pounds, and the guy was like 38, 39 years old as a champion by the time he lost the what's his name, the his final fight of his career was against Eric Morales. You know what I mean? You check it. So I gotta give it up to the man Daniel Zaragoza for number four all time. Greatest super bantamweight of all time. And number three, I got none other than the baby-faced assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera. Yeah, Marco Antonio Barrera, great fighter, was 44 and 0 by the time he got finally lost a fight, and that was to Junior Jones. You know what I'm saying? Great fight. That fight with Junior Jones, you know what I mean, got disqualified because his corner, was it his brother or his pops? They came up on the canvas, and you know, in the middle of the fight, Junior Jones was whooping his ass. That's just what was happening. You know what I mean? But he had numerous title defenses. You know what I'm saying? Um, he had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 11, 12, numerous title defenses at 122 pounds for Marco Antonio Barrera, you know. But, after those losses to, what you call Junior Jones, he worked his way back up, you know what I'm saying? He also had a classic fight with Kennedy McKinley at 122 pounds. Great fight, man. What a fight. Um, you know, and then he finally lost to Eric Morales in a unification. But what I didn't like about that unification, yes, Eric Morales beat him. Controversial fight, could have gone either way. But the WBO let the man Marco Antonio Barrera retain his WBO strap. You know what I mean? I wasn't too pleased with that because he had lost in that unification. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. He's a great fighter at 122 pounds. Moved up to 126 and beat Prince Nassim. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta give it up to Marco Antonio Barrera for number three, all time great fighter at 122 pounds. You know what I'm saying? The baby faced assassin. Number two, you should already know, man. I got none other than El Terrible, the first Mexican to become a world champion in four different weight classes. Absolutely, man. None other than Eric Morales, Tijuana, from Tijuana, Mexico. You know what I mean? Had that classic rivalry with Marco Antonio Barrera. You know what I'm saying? Beat a Mexican legend in Daniel Zaragoza to become a champion. You know what I'm saying? He ain't beat a nobody. He beat a fellow Hall of Famer in Daniel Zaragoza. You know what I'm saying? He beat up Junior Jones, knocked him out in Tijuana in a rowdy house over there in Tijuana. You know what I'm saying? A rowdy crowd in Tijuana, man. And Junior Jones was there in the fight. And Eric Morales seized his opportunity and put on a show, man. He didn't let down over there in Tijuana when he beat Junior Jones, knocked him out in 4 rounds. You know what I mean? You check it. He also beat Wayne McCullough, a guy Daniel Zaragoza had beat as well. You know what I'm saying? Marco Antonio Barrera, of course, the split decision in the very first fight. You know what I mean? He beat up Kevin Kelly. Well, probably that. Maybe that was at featherweight. I think that was his first fight at featherweight. But Marco Antonio. I'm sorry. What you call it? Eric Morales had numerous title defenses as well. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine title defenses at 122 pounds. There goes the fight right there versus Daniel Zaragoza. It was a body shot. I remember. I watched this fight. It was like 97. Daniel Zaragoza was like 39 years old. There it goes. The body shot, man. And it was a wrap, man. It was a wrap, man. He ain't want no more. You know what I'm saying? So Eric Morales, there goes Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera on the film study. Great fighters. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I gotta give it up to the man, Eric Morales, for number two. Greatest super bantamweight of all time. Number one, if you don't know who number one is, man, open a book and do some boxing homework. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need to do. Because at number one, you know who we got already, man. If you don't know, now you know. Great fighter by the name of Bazooka. Yeah, Bazooka was a bad man. You know what I'm saying? 44 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Great fighter, man, at 122 pounds. A knockout artist, man. Did you hear the record I said? 44 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, and 44 KOs. You know what I'm saying? Beat Carlos Zarate in 1978. A fight where Bazooka, I think Carlos Zarate's record at that time was like 51-0 with 50 KOs, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a classic fight, man. Carlos Zarate versus Bazooka, Wilfredo Gomez, numerous title defenses. Bazooka, if I'm not mistaken, Wilfredo Gomez has the record for the most knockouts, 17 consecutive knockouts in 17 world title fights in one division. Nobody in boxing's ever done that. And I don't think anybody in boxing will ever break that record. Really and truly, I'm trying to tell y'all, man. 17 straight KOs and 17 world title fights. His first title, man, he beat a guy by the name of Don Q Yam, and that was for the WBC and the lineal Super Bantamweight titles. You know what I mean? Had fights versus Juan Antonio Lopez, a tough, rough and rugged Mexican, Carlos Zarate. You know what I'm saying? Numerous fighters. Nicky Perez, some guy by the name of somebody Piper. I forgot the guy's name. Well, numerous fighters. You know what I mean? Went up in weight and challenged Salvador Sanchez for the WBC featherweight title. Unfortunately, went up in weight, got stopped in 8, but it's okay. He beat guys like Lupe Pintor, great fighter from Mexico, a guy who ducked the shit out of my man from Philly by the name of Jolton Jeff Chandler, but it's all good. Good fighter nonetheless. Of course, Juan Laporte. No, I think that Juan Laporte fight was at featherweight. That's when he became a featherweight champ. You know what I mean? But Bazooka Gomez, great fighter. Now, he doesn't have as many, or even, besides, what's his name? Carlos Zarate is a Hall of Famer on the resume. But what's his name? He's just a legend, straight up and down. Knockout artist, and one of the greatest fighters ever from Puerto Rico, if not the greatest fighter out of Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? So we had to give it up to Wilfredo Gomez, Bazooka, for number one all time greatest fighter at 122 pounds. You know what I'm saying? No shame in his game. I think he's the best at that weight class, man. Really and truly, you know. I think he's greater than Morales, Barrera. You know what I'm saying? All those guys I mentioned, Daniel Zaragoza, everybody. You know what I mean? Okay, so who do we have as far as honorable mentions? I'll put guys like Nonito Donaire as an honorable mention at 122 pounds. You know what I mean? Won titles at 122, lost them, won them back. You know what I'm saying? So got to give it up to Nonito Donaire. Guillermo Rigondeaux, of course. Still the lineal champion since 2013. We in 2020, y'all. And Guillermo Rigondeaux is still the lineal champion at 122 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Gotta give it up to guys like Buyani Bungu. 13 title defenses at 122 pounds. A great fighter, you know what I mean? Fought guys like Danny Romero and what's the guy? Kennedy McKinley, you know what I mean? So gotta give it up to him. Kennedy McKinney. Um, Manny Pacquiao's a good fighter down there, 122. So was Lilo Ledwaba. Toshiaka Nishioka, good fighter, you know what I'm saying? Had fights with them guys like Verapol Sahapram from Thailand, and Johnny Gonzalez. So those are guys who make honorable mentions, you know what I mean? And that's my list for y'all. Top 5 dead or alive. B Marsh Boxing. This one was quite easy to do compared to the featherweight one. I told y'all the featherweight joint I did last was the hardest one, period. The hardest one I've done so far. And it's only gonna get tougher. It's only gonna get harder, you know what I mean? But it's all good. That's what we doing here. B Marsh Boxing, top 5 dead or alive, where we cover the top 5 best fighters in every single weight class. All the way from heavyweight, we're gonna work our way all the way down to strawweight. B Marsh Boxing, leave your thoughts and comments, and I'm gone. Peace.